Hi everybody, Rachel Love, hello, Cosmic Community. You're going to be real excited today. I know I am. I get excited easily, but I'm not trying to diminish the fact of my excitement because I have Reuben on here. I'm just sharing probably way too much personal information, which I tend to do. Anyway, Rueben Garza, paranormal extraordinaire. Welcome to Cosmic Community.
Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you for having me on the show.
Reuben is a psychic medium, and he had a near-death experience, and it kind of changed his whole world. He had to relearn everything, and when he relearned everything, he also discovered that he brought back some interesting gifts and stuff. You want to share a little bit what you can do, Reuben?
Sure. First, I want to say that there are a lot of other people like me who have had near-death experiences. This also occurred. Some people have the gift of writing, some people painting, some people the ability to see spirits and communicate with the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a number of things happen to me. One of them is dreams or visions of things happening. I believe on one of the other lady I talked to, Sheila, said I told her about the Colorado shooting that I saw before it happened. There have been many instances like I've had dreams. I saw the Boston bombings the day before they happened. I sense people, the feelings of people. I see their auras, and I sense the energy. There is also a clair, all the clairs, clairgustance, clairaudience, and clairsentient.
Oh, you got all of them.
I've got a lot, and
Yeah.
I talk to my friends privately on Facebook, and it's like, why did they give me so much?
Well, that's what we want to talk about today, don't we? Here in Cosmic Community, we do a lot of fun things, and we have some very interesting people on the show. And the community, the Cosmic Community, is made up of all kinds of different people and all different kinds of gifts and stuff. But one thing we hardly ever talk about is some of the negative things that can happen living a paranormal life. We love to talk about the good stuff. Oh, I love the good stuff, and we should. We really should. We don't want to spend a lot of time on negativity. But, you know, there are some pitfalls. There are some issues that come up sometimes in the paranormal life. One of the first things I could think of, everybody thinks you're freaking crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
As soon as you put out there, I see ghosts, I see dead people.
Right.
Okay, everybody just kind of moves away a little bit.
That's happened for them on occasion.
Or my favorite, I was abducted. Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's true.
So let's talk a little bit, Reuben. Have you experienced some negative stuff with your gifts?
When I was first understanding them, there were a lot of things happening. I mentioned before about being flipped in bed. I've actually had nosebleeds, cold spots, scratched, bruises. I wake up with bruises on. And then a lot of times I've even smelled stuff in the apartment that I know is not mine because I keep my apartment relatively clean.
Yeah.
Some of the responsibility that comes with having these gifts is the good and the bad. But because I have these gifts, I get to see both, and I feel them on such a profound level that the primary thing was to learn and understand how to ward it off, how to stay in the light, if you will, and focus on the positive as much as I possibly can. Even with all the dark stuff that was happening, there have been plenty of nights where I didn't want to go to sleep, and I cried myself to sleep, and I didn't understand what was happening, and so it took a lot of learning and a lot of I would go to a place and talk to some ladies there and learn about saging the apartment and doing stuff like putting salt and keeping your apartment clean and holy water if you're a very religious person. There's a difference for me and a person that's spiritual and religious. So
Yeah.
I know that it comes with an intent and being able to take your power back in some sense so that way the negative will go away when you come face to face with it because of that daily stuff that we wind up encountering, stress or the really cool stuff. Like when my world's in harmony, Rachel. Oh my God, I can see stuff and just I can read people like you would not believe. But a lot of that is with some of the negative stuff that comes along with it is people not understanding or judging it.
Yeah.
People that are open to it. I say stuff the other day. A couple of days ago, I was having Thanksgiving dinner with a lady that her family, and I was teasing with her granddaughter, and I was like, "Are you ready to get married?" She was like, "No." I was like, "Well, you better get ready for the baby. The baby's on its way before you get married." And she was like, "No, I can't have children." I was like, oh, "Okay, you watch." She called me a couple of days ago. She said she was 3 months pregnant, or three and a half, 3 months pregnant, and it's we talked about staying positive or attracting those things to you.
Well, let's say one of the first things you brought up. I'm getting real close here. One of the first things you brought up is knowledge. What makes a difference is that you talk to other people and you learn that salt and sage and stuff could help you deal with this. So I think as we deal with the negativity, one of the main weapons we have, I hate the word defensive weapons, guns and stuff scare me. Weapons scare me for that matter too. But one of the things we have is knowledge. It's real knowledge, and the knowledge comes from communicating and sharing with our sisters and brothers and be willing to listen and be willing to learn. I can just imagine if we were dropped into a different universe and no idea what we can eat and what we couldn't eat, how dangerous that would be, how difficult it would be. This being a paranormal world has along with it certain things. That apple in that tree, since we're going to go back to religion and holy water, that apple, because it causes you some issues, apparently makes you wear fig leaves and have problems with menstruation. But the other apple is good. But okay, I got off. Sorry, it's sacrilegious. But knowledge is power, and having the ability to communicate with others would be very helpful in our new world. That's one of the first things I heard you talk about. And I also thought it was interesting that you live an everyday life, Thanksgiving, and you just happen to bring something up, and then all of a sudden it becomes a reality.
No clue. Like the doctors were like, "You're not gonna." She told me the doctors were saying she's not gonna have a baby and that she couldn't have children with a certainty. I was like, oh, "Okay, you watch." And I didn't know. There comes with it that responsibility, and there's some very cool things that can happen with it, or that do happen with it. But being able to always stay positive and always stay in the light is almost impossible when you're dealing with daily stuff like stress. So the tools for me are sage. I know that I have to keep my apartment clear and clean. The dark spirits, dark people, dark energy, they love chaos. So what I tell people, the first thing I tell people is, if you want to try to clear your room or think there's something that shouldn't be, a couple of things to do right off is to either rearrange the furniture to where the flow of chi comes through your house, or keep it clean as tidy as possible, and salt everything and sage everything. I invest in sage now. It's the weirdest thing. It's a whole new life for me. It's a whole different world for me. But I've seen that, and I've seen how it works. And other people I know have offered that advice to me, and if I wouldn't believe it either. I said before, I think it's odd. I don't blame anybody. And I know that the veil is thinning.
Yeah.
So a lot more people are going to be experiencing some paranormal stuff. And for me, it's I discovered that it happens for people that have experienced a traumatic event.
Mm-hmm.
It opens up another dimension of stuff, whether you want to or not. But the first response is a lot of times is to go and find a fix like medication or something that will calm that powerful energy.
Yeah, it could be as simple as smoking cigarettes, drinking a little bit. When you start doing stuff, you'll notice a lot of people that are trying to cover or hide something or deal with some issue, and it helps. So there are some things that can help on some of that stuff, but they all have side effects, don't they? So
Yes,
you
I
have a
did.
whole new world, and now we can talk about the side effects of the whole new world. What happens when your world turns upside down and you start seeing dead people, or you start knowing things? First thing you do, you keep your mouth shut because you don't want people to think you're crazy. If it
Well,
stays around long enough, you try to medicate it with whatever you can do, whatever pills you have, whatever you have at your disposal. Sometimes it's as simple as overeating,
yeah,
eating different things. We're doing things to try to silence it in our head. If
yeah,
that doesn't work, sometimes we finally tell friends and they go, oh, okay. But if you hit the right person, you're going to know knowledge. It'll save you some headaches. And sometimes we end up in therapy. We end up with psychiatrists and stuff because um, you may be a new Long Island famous person, and you think you don't get as much problems and everything. I did hear though that she's had her issues with anxiety, different things. Of course, I don't know. That's just rumors, so I probably shouldn't say anything in the video. But either way, not everybody is willing to accept what you have to say, and some will medicate you and think obviously you're hearing voices, you're doing different things, or on and on, and you have these issues, so they'll medicate you. I know as a woman, if I go to the doctor and you start complaining about anything, honey, here's some anxiety pills. Yeah, will you just shut up?
my thing is, like yesterday or the day before, I like ice cream. It's
Yeah,
not good for me because I'm diabetic, but now I try to stay away from heavy medication, even Tylenol, even aspirin with Tylenol.
yeah,
Makes me feel just weird. I don't
yeah.
like it at all.
Well,
But it's not a fun thing to look at, and feeling those feelings that are not yours.
mm,
Like all of a sudden, there was one experience like the Boston bombing thing that I was one of the second powerful visions that I had. I was in a hotel room in Vegas and pacing the floor and saying, "What's going on? I know this is not me. I'm feeling at peace. What's happening?" I was on vacation and I didn't know. And so I decided to take a walk, get out of the apartment, and shift my thoughts. Like they say, shift your thoughts. It only
mm,
takes a few seconds to really shift your thoughts and do something else. So I was taking that advice and I tried to walk down the strip a little bit. I didn't get very far. I was maybe a block in and I saw two bombs go off. And I did not know. Nobody else was reacting to it. And I went back to I was afraid, and I saw them clearly go off. And I went back to my hotel room, and I was like, "What is it?" I just saw two bombs go off, but nobody else was reacting to it. The next day, the Boston bombings happened. There were two. It's
you
just
know, you bring up something interesting. We're always trying to avoid the negative or the bad, and we do our best with the sages and different things. And you talk about change your focus, go for a walk, do something. We talk lightly about medication and different things. But what if the negative things that you're receiving are actually helpful? See,
six.
see, sometimes terrible things that happen to us are actually teaching us something. And the scope of things, since we never die anyway, we're always afraid of something unpleasant, and we automatically put a label on it that it's Satan. it's the devil. It's
Yeah,
something bad.
I've had that.
Yeah. But what if certain people like you have the ability to have that in you for a little bit to help save or help save? There's a word. I'm mixing devils and demons and Satan with saviors, and obviously I just got on some kind of weird religious bent over here. But sometimes the negative, or what considered a negative, is important to help us to do something positive. It's sometimes the slap on the hand, which we don't really want, keeps us from putting our hands in the fire.
Well, I think it's about feelings. Let me plug in my. Hold on a second. So, sorry, I had
Yeah,
to plug
there's a lot of noise in the background too. Either somebody's
in.
vacuuming, or you got a very loud computer, or there's some energy levels going on.
Computer. I'm sorry. I had to plug in the battery. I didn't realize it was that low. It's all about feelings and understanding or developing a dictionary to what they mean, not knowing what any of this means. I was like, where's energy coming from? It's about understanding energy, understanding what's your feeling, what are your feelings, and what are the feelings that are coming in around you. So it may not necessarily be bad, but it's something that could be happening across the world.
Mhm.
For instance, I even know when earthquakes are going to happen. Sometimes there have been a lot of things that a lot of times I wake up in the middle of the night and my heart's beating out of, and I'm feeling the sense of what is that. And I've learned because of experiencing it over and over, to look up those things online and say, oh, there's an earthquake. And sure enough, I go online and the earthquake has happened within 30, 40 minutes sometimes, depending on the time zone, maybe even an hour. But when I'm asleep, and because when we are sleeping, our brain waves lower for us to be able to be open enough to receive that information.
Oh, some would say we drop the ego, we drop the thinking mind, and then the subconscious and the cosmic connection starts working. And I agree with that. But, we started this conversation about paranormal life, and sometimes it's difficult, some of the things that are not always pleasant. And we started coming up with how important it is for sharing information, and then we talk about different things. I'm coming back away from this now, listening to you talk, that maybe we're judging too quickly what's negative and what's positive. And maybe it's not... Maybe we shouldn't be so quick to pull back all of our feelings, because we've already talked about at the very beginning. If we medicate ourselves, we don't feel it. Your feelings you're experiencing with the bombing nobody else is seeing, or the earthquake nobody else is seeing, that's an unpleasant experience. I would imagine most of us would prefer to take something that we don't feel that. So I'm hearing from you that paranormal life is not always pleasant feeling, but maybe it's not supposed to be.
And I agree. It's not all of it's pleasant. Some of it's very, very cool. It's like you mentioned the Long Island medium, which she says she feels a pain in her head, the back of her head, in one reading. That's her sign for somebody was murdered or shot in the head. And I actually feel some of those things, or taste some of those things. And it's like they're not my feelings, but I feel it's almost like a psychosomatic thing that happens. And there was one instance where there have been so many. I'm surprised by it every time, that I actually knew somebody who just ate a hot dog. I was talking to him on the phone. I was like, "Oh, you just eat a hot dog with cheese?" Something. He was like, "Yeah, I did." I don't know. I haven't talked to him. It's the weirdest thing to have that kind of connection, and it's more about discerning what is mine, what I'm actually doing in the moment, versus what's around me. The energy we talked about is not easy to place without a dictionary, without a reference. Have you had experience with that, doing what you do?
Oh, yeah. You can feel and know things, but in order to keep myself being overwhelmed, I just treat it as if I'm in a busy department store. There's all kinds of people in that department store. They're busy doing their business. They're doing different things. And there's some bizarre people in department stores. You've seen the photos in Walmart. So in the spiritual world, we're surrounded by spirits. Yes. And they're trying to communicate. They're living their lives. They're doing their different things. And I try to just go in and get what I need and come back out and try not to have a conversation with them. That's just how I kind of protect myself. But sometimes they'll knock loud enough, or somebody has a particular issue. Then I say, okay, there's an issue. Let me open up the door. Hi, guys. Hi, girls. We got a problem over here. Can we maybe talk about this? And then I invite and I have this conversation. And I appreciate, thank you very much. Then I go back to put up my little walls or something. But maybe that's not a good thing to do. Maybe I should just delve in there and have a little conversation like you're doing. But this is how I dealt with it, with my reality. And
I think that we all have a different way or different tools for coping. It's what works best for you to be able to understand how to shut those things off or when to open them up.
Well, I can't work 24/7. When I used to work for a living, you took some time off. You need a vacation. Yes. So if you keep doing this all the time and you don't take no real time for yourself, well, it affects you physically. It affects you physically. I see people doing it all the time. The physical body drains because we're based on energy. The dead, they need our energy. They're a different energy level, and they use our energy. So we give them our energy, or we share our energy with them, especially out of fear. That really sucks it out of you. They get energized by that. That's why they love the confusion. They love the fear because it builds them up. But that takes from you. So you need a chance to rebalance. You need a chance to be back centered on this earth. And you do things like, or at least I do things like drumming, or take a bath and let it off me. Or I love motorcycle riding. I love to do something physical out there in the world and be in the present time. That helps the body because we are spiritual beings, but we're also bodies. And these bodies are in this place, this hemisphere, this world, this vibration level, this place. And they need to be grounded. They need to be nurtured and taken care of. So if I'm trying to medicate myself because I'm fearful or doing different things, I'm hurting the body. If I'm always in the spiritual world, my body is suffering. So I try to take care of it. I mean, it's not the best one, but I don't look too bad for my age. That's why I'm going to throw that out there. If anybody's interested, I like long walks along the beach. Okay, sorry, this is not a dating site again. I get on the Skype and I start thinking I should be dating. Not that, just teasing.
It's the middle ground. It's between this world and the next world. I say a lot of times I feel like I'm living two different lives because sometimes my dreams are so vivid. I wake up laughing. Sometimes I'm like, what are you trying to show me? And then I get to do what I'm doing separate from this. But maintaining like one, it's like almost having 1 foot in that realm and 1 foot grounded in reality. And it can get convoluted sometimes because there's a lot. What's a symbolic thing to me, the point of reference that I have may be different from what you know as. I was reading a lady and just for fun, just playing. And I was like, I don't know what it means. And I was very reluctant to say anything because it's about building confidence. And I was like, I see a quilt, a patchwork quilt. What does that mean? And I got really big. I was like, I don't know. So what I see something as will be different from you because of our experience.
Our filters, things we see into life, yes, how we look at it. Because I do see a lot more vision stuff than I actually hear words and things. But once I open it up, I'm sure it's the same with you, once I open up and start doing it, once I get past the hesitation, it just flows. And I'm like surprised at stuff I say and the boldness of stuff I say. It just comes out. Because I opened up myself to channel that energy to share and it went through. And I'm going like, oh, hell, that's going to cause me some problems.
Without even knowing it, I was like, well, you're going to have a baby. You're going to have a baby. And I had no idea. The doctor told her she couldn't. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. Watch. And I was so sure of it.
I told some poor lady that she had 14 years left, 2 cycles left to make, it's like, okay, they're just putting the rubber in the road. You have 14 years. You could do this or that with it, and it just came out of me. And I just let it just kept like, okay. And that's not something you really want to share with people. But sometimes when you open yourself up, it just comes out and it does it. So we're going to have to close down because I only allowed so much time for these shows. Besides, I figured after so many minutes, people go, I've had enough of that. I'm going to be nice to myself. That woman. Does she ever shut up? No, I don't. But we came in paranormal normal, living the paranormal life and some of the difficulties with it. And one of the first things that you brought up was how important it was to understand education, talking to other people. We talked about medication and trying to, how that works and touched on barely, which I'd love to have another show sometime. I talk about what foods we're eating and stuff, how that affects our body, our physical body to be receptors to this. We talked about how judging emotion, whether good or bad or positive or negative, that maybe, as your example, maybe these negative things you feel are actually a positive thing in the long run. So we have to be careful how we judge and our moral belief systems and where it came from. You mentioned our filters, where we came from, how we see things. What else could we do to wrap this show up that you'd like to share?
The one thing that there are a lot, tons of stuff.
We can do shows forever, can't we?
Yeah, I think that it works like sonar on a bat.
Uh-huh.
They have receptors to, I think it's coming from the temporal lobe. And I think when we are in tune with that, we pick up and receive information from our temporal lobe. Or because of the way it happens or communicates, it's in the frontal region of the lobe or the temporal lobe, and it acts like sonar. That's what I think. But it's more of like having a blind person that's able to see without eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Developing understanding, knowing. Just that it's not what what you could be experiencing is not really a part of you. So when you get anxieties or you find yourself really depressed, try to shift your emotions, because if you're thinking negative thoughts or negative things are coming at you, the dark spirits love that, and the easiest way to do that is to shift your emotions until you can figure out or develop your language and find an outlet to explore that with somebody that will not judge you for it. To develop it with free, like Teresa has probably done a lot of schooling with a mentor years. That's why she's so good. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So
mentoring helps. Are you willing to be a mentor to somebody if they wanted your help?
Yeah, I would. That would be kind of cool. My special friends say, Professor Xavier from the X-Men. So my angel says I'm Professor Javier. Because I'm Latino instead of Xavier.
Yes. All right, well then, let's open that up. Somebody wants to talk to Reuben and have a mentor. How do we contact you, Reuben?
You can find me on book or probably Facebook is probably the best way to find me right now. Yeah.
Facebook under what? Because you kind of...
it's facebook.com/Rueben Garza.
Rueben Garza on Facebook. You can find him. And, of course, this show will be on rachellove.tv and cosmic.community. And send us a message off the website. We'll make sure that Reuben hears it because he wants to help you. That's pretty cool. I'm thinking, I'm not so sure.
Well, look, it's a big thing, and I know I was afraid of it.
Yeah.
And so
from your heart, Reuben, from your heart, your life turned upside down when you a while back, and you had to relearn everything. From your heart, are you thankful that you have this opportunity?
Yeah. Now that I know, now that I understand how lucky I am to be off of diabetic medication, to be able to have some mobility. I'm not fully 100% there. I do have some incredible gifts, but I do also have some challenges. In the big scheme of things, I do consider myself really lucky.
Yeah, so life is good in the paranormal world, right?
Yes.
I think it's important to remember that.
And the other one is to say thank you for everything. I know that's not easy.
No.
Even with the bad stuff, I know it's not easy. But to say thank you.
Well, let's close on that. Thank you. And thank you, Reuben, for coming on Cosmic Community.
Thank you.